What's up guys? It's me again, Quiz Sam. Today I am making a video about one of the topics in our subject environmental science entitled Urbanization and Sustainable Cities. When we say urbanization and sustainable cities, it is always related to the humans and its settlements. Human settlements are the result of the dynamic adaptation of the human community operating in the given territory in the conditions of social, economic, and historical relations. The areas in which human settlements are located are distinguished by the components of physical geographic structure, by the diversity, and by the potential natural conditions, as well as by the economic and social factors in which the human settlements appear and develop. Human settlements represent the totality of the human communities, villages, and towns, regardless of their position, size, and functions. Human settlement can be considered a geographic landscape integrated with the natural and social conditions necessary for the existence of housing, work, and equipment such as power supply, water, transport, communications, sanitations, and many more. So, what is urbanization? Urbanization is the increasing concentration of the population in the cities and transformation of land use and society to a metropolitan patterns of organization. In other words, urbanization is a process whereby population move from rural to urban area, enabling cities and towns to grow. It can also be termed as the progressive increase of the number of people living in the towns and cities. Urbanization is highly influenced by the notion that cities and towns have achieved better economic, political, and social mileage compared to the rural areas. Accordingly, urbanization is a very common in developing and developed worlds as more and more people have the tendency of moving closer to towns and cities to acquire privilege, social, and economic services as well as benefits. These include social and economic advantages such as better education, healthcare, sanitation, housing, business opportunities, and transportation. The difference between rural and urban is that most residents in the rural depends on the agriculture and livelihood, while majority of the people in the urban areas do not directly depends on the natural resource-based occupations. Majority of the people move to cities and towns because they view rural areas as places with hardship and backward or primitive lifestyle. Therefore, as population move to more developed areas like towns and cities, the immediate outcome is urbanization. This normally contributes to the development of land for use in commercial properties, social and economic support institutions, transportation, and residential buildings. Eventually, these activities will raise several urbanization issues. A village is a small group of settlements which is usually located in a rural area, although they can also be found in several urban areas. It is larger than a hamlet, but smaller than a town. It is comprised of permanent residences that are located close together for the purpose of its easy defense against the enemies and to enable its inhabitants to socialize among themselves. A city is a big and populous settlement, which is an important center of commerce and culture. It has a local laws and intricate lands, housing, sanitation, utilities, and transportation system. It is a commercial hub providing its citizens with recreational facilities as well as their everyday needs. The term megacity refers to a metropolitan areas with a total population of more than 10 million people. The definition of what constitutes a megacity generally refers to the population of an urban agglomeration, that is, it includes people living in the immediate suburbs outside of the established border of the city. Historically, the growth of big cities first occurred during the Industrial Revolution when large number of people moved to cities in order to find work, a trend broadly associated with developed nations. In contrast, Contemporary megacity development is predominantly focused in areas of the world that are the least developed. Urban growth refers to the rate of which the population, land area, or significant land use increases. Urban growth is utilized as an indicator for a country's or an area's economic condition as well as development. The growth of urban areas is often influenced by certain factors such as surplus resources, development of infrastructure, commercialization, education, and mining, among others. So, what are the causes of urban population? The first cause of urban growth is the natural increase in population. The rate of death and births characterizes the natural expansion of an area. In areas where births are more than the deaths, the population is bound to increase. People who migrate to towns and cities tend to be young people who are in search of housing, jobs, or better education. Young men and women have a high fertility rate. Therefore, they increase the numbers quickly and will eventually look for new spaces within the urban area to settle and fend for their kind. Next is migration. Immigration is a major contributor to the increase in the population of a place. Push and pull factors in geography refers to the causes of migration among people. These reasons can be social, economic, environmental, or political in nature. Push factors refers to the conditions which force people to leave their homes. A person moves because of distress. Migration is triggered by the promise of an easier and more enjoyable life elsewhere. Examples of push factors can include unemployment, insecurity, scarcity of land, political instability, drought, and famine. Push factors refers to the conditions which force people to leave their homes. A person moves because of distress. Migration is triggered by the promise of an easier and more enjoyable life elsewhere. Examples of push factors can include unemployment, insecurity, scarcity of land, political instability, drought, and famine. Other causes of urban growth may include industrialization, commercialization, advancement of transport and communication, availability of educational and recreational facilities, urban planning facilities, topographical factors, unbalanced spatial development, transformation and modernization in the modern way of living, mining and investments, presence of functional administrative and social support offices, and presence of functional administrative and social support offices. Despite its advancement and development, urban areas have many problems. Traffic congestion is a condition on transport that is characterized by slower speeds, longer trip times, and increased vehicular queuing. Traffic congestion on urban road networks have become increasingly problematic since the 1950s. Traffic congestion occurs when a volume of traffic generates demand of space greater than the available street capacity. This point is commonly termed as saturation. There are a number of specific circumstances which cause or aggravate congestion. Most of them reduce the capacity of a road at a given point or over a certain length, or increase the number of vehicles required for a given volume of people or goods. Traffic congestion is recurring and is attributed to sheer weight of traffic. Most of the rest is attributed to traffic incidents, roadwork, and weather events. In terms of traffic operation, rainfall reduces traffic capacity and operating speeds, thereby resulting in greater congestion and road network productivity loss. Urbanization has been linked to the degradation of urban waterways. The major pollutants found in runoff from urban areas include sediment, nutrients, oxygen-demanding substances, road salts, heavy metals, petroleum hydrocarbons, pathogenic bacteria, and viruses. Suspended sediments constitute the largest mass of pollutant loadings to receiving waters from urban areas. Construction is a major source of sediment erosion. Nutrient and bacterial sources of contamination include fertilizer usage, pet wastes, leaves, grass clippings, and faulty septic tanks. Petroleum hydrocarbons result mostly from automobile sources. Rapid urbanization has brought alarming, unmanageable, inevitable, and persistent problems of slums in almost every city of the world. The slum life has not only affected developing countries but also the developed ones. The characteristic features of the slum areas are substandard, dingy houses of high density and congestion, overcrowding, insanitary conditions, absence of basic amenities like water supply, drainage, and sewerage, and disposal of garbage. It has been observed that the immigration to industrial centers, where large working manpower is required, is greater. Thus, slums coexist with industrial urban centers. Shanty towns display most problems typical of developing world cities. On arrival at the city, it is most likely that the migrant will find him having to create his own shelter, living on the streets, or rent a single room. Shantytown is likely to be found on inappropriate land. Maybe it is prone to flooding or is very steeply sloping, increasing the chances of a landslip. It could be a piece of land that has been badly polluted by a neighboring industry. The shelters made of wood and a high population densities increase the risk of fire. Squatter settlements are any collection of buildings where the people have no legal rights to the land they are built upon. The people are living there illegally and do not own the land. They provide housing for many of the world's poorest people and offer basic shelter. They are often constructed with poor materials, including plastic sheeting, corrugated metal, wood, and cardboard. These are all materials that are available either freely as waste or cheaply. Squatter settlements also often lack proper sanitation, water supply, electricity, or telephone services. Over time, squatter settlements can be improved by the residents and become more stable permanent dwellings with brick and concrete used to reinforce the structures. Squatters are found in various locations, but are usually built on the edges of the cities in the world's poorest countries. They are also built on marginal land, which is land which has less value and is not occupied by legal land uses and buildings. These sites can include steep and dangerous hillsides on swampy or marshy land, land far from services, and land close to polluting industries. Urban sprawl is the uncontrolled expansion of urban areas. These are the characteristics of an urban sprawl: increased traffic congestion, a decrease in social interaction among neighbors because of the changes in physical structure or neighborhoods, water quality degradation due to increase in impervious surface area associated with new roads and parking lots, air pollution resulting from increased volume of traffic as people must drive longer distances, often on congested roads. Smart growth covers a range of development and conservation strategies that help protect our health and natural environment and make our communities more attractive, economically stronger, and more socially diverse. These are some of the principles of smart growth: promote economic development, create livable communities, promote alternative transportation, create a range of housing opportunities, preserve open space, natural resources and environment, and enhance the quality of life.